Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Local Chat, episode 125. I'm your host, Will Crosby. Here, joining me with is the boys of Subpixel, minus Kyle. It's Ian Gibson and Jake Terrio.
Hi. I can't believe we're at 125. That means we're 75 episodes away from the next rebrand. We gotta start brainstorming.
Music just decided to stop instead of doing the thing I like to call fading. Yeah, we already have to think, what are we doing? What's our next thing for 200?
I feel like, okay, let's think about this real quick. It's a year and a half away. So we're looking at the end of 2024.
The 2024 election.
That's right. Full political. Red, white, and blue, Star Spangled Banners, elephants, donkeys, dolphins. Full political. We're going to become the next Pod Saves America.
We have to do what the oldies station here in town does, which is at the top of the hour, every hour they play the national anthem. Without fail. In its entirety.
Jake, I'm not calling you a liar, but I find that so fucking hard to believe because that is ridiculous.
Every hour on the hour. So does 105.9 in Orlando. Tune in.
That, honestly, there are a lot of weird, crazy radio stations in Orlando now that I think about it.
That beats my bit. My bit was going to be like the ELO album Time. We go into the future and we have the election of 3024 is our theme. So it's all like space themed, but also future America, where we've become a hyper industrialized corporation.
I like you said 2034. Like that's the future.
I mean, it's 3024 is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes
3024.
sense.
Will, I appreciated that you played a selection from Time at the reception.
Oh, so I got obsessed with that album. Someone on Twitter was just like, this is one of my favorite albums. And I'm like, yeah, right. And it is probably the best single album that's ever been produced by a person ever, or band. And it's fantastic. And Karen loves that song because I think that song is the one that has like it's not a tempo change, but it has like a style change in it.
As my dad would say, it's got drama.
Yeah, it's really good. All of those songs in that entire album's fantastic. If anyone hasn't listened to the Time album, sit yourself down, delete the button that is shuffle, and play that album in order.
It's specifically an album that is not meant to be shuffled because it all kind of flows together.
Yeah, I've listened to it enough that I could start singing the next song when the first song ends. And the only other album that I do that with, which you'll appreciate, Jake, and Kyle would appreciate, is the Reliant K album, in which I will start singing the next song as soon as one of the songs ends.
Not what I expected you to say, but
Christian rock, everybody, we love it.
Yeah.
Folks, we're not here just to talk about Christian rock. We also do a thing. Oh, thanks, Think Gibson, for the subscribe. Wow, fantastic.
Oh, thank you. He's great.
We also have a little chit chat section here that we like to weave in here, all masterfully. Not even mention that we're chit chatting. We just put it in here. I got married over the weekend.
Mazel.
I'm wearing a ring now, which apparently makes me look cooler.
Does it?
What?
You can hit things with it, Ian, and it makes fun sounds.
That is literally ever since you said that, I can't stop doing it. I've broken 10 glasses. No,
you went with a metal. You went with a metal ring because I feel like you and I have similar thought processes, and I've been thinking about getting a silicone ring because of how much just like power tools, dirt, etc. stuff that I do that I'm pretty sure a metal ring would get annoying.
Yeah, so I have the metal ring, and then I bought a pack of silicone rings for
your fingers, or
this pack is and that's mostly for like what you're saying, like when I'm working on like 3D printing stuff, I'm not wearing gloves or all that sort of stuff. And then the other big thing was like if I go on vacation or on a like somewhere, like I'm not gonna bring my expensive ring with me. I'll just wear a silicone ring, or going swimming and stuff like that. Swimming and the fish need to know that I'm taken is really the real categories there. No, it was a super fun wedding. I won't talk about it too much, but it was nice. All the Subpixel boys were there. which was really nice. There's photos on the Discord if people want to join the Discord. It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Great time. A genuinely fantastic wedding. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Good pizza.
I'm glad everyone liked it. It doesn't sound genuine, but coming from you, I know it is. Maybe. I'm still not sure.
It is because I said it.
Yeah, that's true.
If it wasn't genuine, then I just would not have said it.
And
also,
leading.
Is the VOD still on Twitch? Can people continue?
Yeah,
to
the
watch
VOD
your
is still
wedding
on
in
Twitch.
perpetuity?
It muted all the preamble music, and then I was like,
That's fair.
there's that great app that lets you download the unmuted version. It still didn't work, but a couple other people took full videos, so I'm just gonna borrow the audio from there and place it over it to make it a little bit easier. And then yeah. So if you didn't catch that live, then sucks to be you. Because we're all married now.
You're not a true fan, you piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
I will say, it was surprising. We barely teased it, and then we went live, and we got some regulars in there watching it, and that was a cool experience to see Subpixel regulars watching a live stream of a wedding. It was pretty cool.
It started out as like I'll do this to be funny for Halucha. And then it turned into, the family from Israel is wondering if the link's not working right now. Is it going to work when it goes live? It's just like, yeah. They're like, but what's the link the day of? And I'm like, it's the same Twitch link. So it got
I think
bigger production.
It was what, 33 viewers was what's the Twitch
something like that
stats said.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So that wedding was fun. The other fun thing I've been doing, which is great to have Jake back on the podcast. Where Jack's back, everybody, is to talk about World War II. It's our favorite thing to talk about here. We love it. One of the best wars to ever grace this earth. Both sides. One of the best office jokes ever.
Okay, look, it's a segue into genuine World War II discussion. I want to know more about Italy in World War II. I realize that's a big black hole. The Italy campaign, what was Italy doing like politically and militarily during World War II? That's one of those World War II knowledge gaps that I really need to dive into.
Trains always ran on time.
They always ran on time. And do you guys have gaps like that with your World War II knowledge that you want to dive into more?
I'm definitely a Pacific theater guy. All the stuff in Europe beyond like, D-Day and Hitler shooting himself in the bunker is kind of a blur.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. He dies.
I'm not there yet.
I'm still on Mein Kampf.
Oh my god.
He just got to art school.
So I listened to Dan Carlin Hardcore History, his most recent series. It was like 4 or 5 parts. And by 4 or 5 parts, I mean like 25 hours of podcast of the Pacific Theater, but specifically the rise of Japan. So it was like late 20s Japan all the way through the end of the war. And there's a lot of stuff in there, like the New Guinea fighting that I just had no idea about. And it was just insane, treacherous, like basically like very steep cliffs and mountains, but also completely covered in jungle. So it was kind of like Vietnam fighting, but with severe elevation changes, and it was just crazy fighting. So all that little stuff that I just had no concept of, that I learned a lot from his podcast, and it was great.
Have you seen The Wind Rises, or The Wind Also Rises? It's
The Wind Rises. Yeah.
That's the Mitsubishi Zero.
Yeah.
Japanese
I
boy.
have not.
Where like
a
third of the way into the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this heading into World War II? Because I had no idea that that's what the movie was about. I'm just like, fun people making airplanes. I'm like, whoa, wait.
Whoa.
They're making
Japanese
the Zero.
Did you watch it in English or in Japanese?
I try to, any film that was originally in a foreign language, I do try to watch it in that language first, and then if I rewatch it, I might watch a dub. So I watched it in Japanese.
Oh, the dub for that. Have got those dubs for Ghibli stuff is usually great because they're part of that interaction. So like that's the one point I'll usually like not make sure to watch the Japanese version of. But my favorite part of the English one is the guy who plays the Italian guy is always just like Japanese boy. Japanese boy, and it's just like you're doing like a weird older Japanese man accent for this Italian guy.
Italian character.
It's like, what is happening? Anyways, what were you gonna say, Ian?
I was gonna say I used to be diehard subs, so I would always be like subtitles. I want the original audio. But then the thing that actually changed for me, that made me flip, was the TV show Dark, which has a terrible dub, but I had to watch it as a dub because the cinematography and the acting and the visuals was so incredibly good that I didn't want to look away from it and look at the subtitle text. So I've slowly flipped into the opposite. Like I still totally see your point, Jake, about like close to the original audio, but I'm at the point where as much as possible I do dubs now, just so I can like fully appreciate the visuals. And there's both sides there. On both sides.
Well, speaking of both, no, I was just one last point to that is, for me, it's the disjoint between the mouth moving and the person talking. And animation is easier for me to overcome that, which is why I don't care.
Because they're not usually mouth matching in the native language anyway.
Yeah, or they're just like speeding up how fast they're talking to fit it. And they've also gotten better with that sort of stuff. But that's the main reason. Anyway, speaking about both sides, World War II, I watched all the greatest events of World War II in color. That was on Netflix, which was very good. It was informational and everything. But I was like, I need to know more about it. Like Ian's saying, I don't know much about the spaghetti that was Italy in that war. And I didn't know that much about Japan, and seeing some of those episodes was really cool. Real big meanies during that part. But
yeah, they're pretty terrible.
What I will say is I downloaded the 1973 documentary from, I don't think it was partially the BBC's. It's also the Thames Broadcasting Company. And it's called The World at War. What?
How did you mispronounce that, but like in a different mispronunciation?
Isn't it Thames? Like the Thames River?
Thames.
Thames.
Was it Thames?
I was gonna ask.
But it's like most people would say
I was gonna make a joke and
Thames.
be like, "Are you talking about the river?" But I'm like, he can't possibly be talking about the river.
Yeah, I don't mean to make fun of you, but it's like the typical mispronunciation is Thames, but you still mispronounce it, but in a weird way.
I just knew it wasn't a th.
That's fair. You are closer, yeah.
Anyways, the Timochahetlan River in London. No, so The World at War is a documentary. It's like a 26-part documentary, 26 episodes, all narrated by Laurence Olivier, who is doing a fantastic job. And most of it, I've watched 4 or 5 episodes now. So like, to single it out, one episode was all about the Battle for Britain and all the bombing in London. And they had a room full of people who were kids at the time in all... And then they bombed them. No,
it's just a room full of
London.
people who were and I was like, killed? What? What? Sorry, what's the name of this again?
People were killed. The World at War. They had a room full of people who were like in bunkers and kids at the time, or like teenagers, and just had them talking. They had the war minister who was the war minister from 1940 to 1945 in England. They had Churchill's private secretary. They have Albert Speer, who was the architect for like Nazi Germany. They have all this stuff, and they're sprinkled in different episodes, but it's all people, because it was the 1970s, it was only 30 years after World War II. So it's all these people who are actually there and just a little bit older, just talking about it. And it's all firsthand. And it's incredibly interesting to see it that way. There's no experts coming up like to talk about it, because they're all just like, oh yeah, I was in the room. Like when and then they're showing like 40s footage of that person like doing stuff. And they even have they had like a senior captain in the Luftwaffe. They had some of the high command generals from Germany just being like, yeah, Hitler came into the room and like said this and this, and that we should go to war with Russia now. And we were all like, oh, okay. And it's just
did I tell you, did I tell you about my dad and Hitler this past year?
Elaborate.
So my parents, they're actually like really good friends with a lot of German World War II historians who specifically, like German and American, who focus on Battle of the Bulge, Battle of the Hurricane Forest, etc. And they go to conferences. Actually, they go to a conference every year in Germany, and then they go back other times as well. So the last time they went down to the Eagle's Nest, which was where Hitler had this like special mountain retreat, etc. But he also had a personal house slightly lower down the mountain, and it's been destroyed. Like they destroyed it after the war. They were like, we don't want people to like, memorialize this site or whatever. But people still know where it is. And some German friends had told my dad and told myself as well that they were like, hey, it's really cool to go there. You should go there. They still have some of the concrete from it. So they went there. My dad said, yeah, we went there and I pissed in Hitler's living room. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, it's like overgrown with trees now. So I just pissed. So my dad pissed in Hitler's living room.
Nice.
And he's like real proud of it.
He's going to be so upset when he gets home.
I know.
There's two National Geographic documentaries from the 90s, one about the Battle of Guadalcanal and one about the Battle of Midway, that also have, like, at that point in the 90s, pretty old veterans of some of the boats that made it back and some of the boats that sank. Yeah. But yeah, like firsthand stuff where they're talking about like, it was bad.
It's wildly interesting. And also the editing in it is fairly modern by like my standards. Like they had a whole section about France cut to, you ever hear that French song Boom Boom? I'm not going to sing it for you, but there's a French song called Boom Boom, and they were like cutting to guns firing during the boom part of like different, and it was just like cut together so well. Like this is something you would just do today. Like I haven't experienced that in old media where you're just like, this is refreshing and engaging and like doing good. Like they do like the cold open, and then Laurence Olivier says something profound, and then the world at war, big flames come up, and it like does this whole like intro sequence, and you're just like, yeah, get it.
I love wars.
But the other great thing is like all of the graphics and graphic work is all pre After Effects, all that sort of stuff. So it's all hand drawn animated stuff. And it's just really cool to see.
That's lovely.
Been editing this good since Triumph of the Will.
Yeah. I have to ask the question though, Will.
What?
And every time we bring up World War II, I have to ask it again. Have you started reading The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich yet?
No, I haven't. I started reading The Second World War was the name of the book. And then I was like reading it, and I was like, that's what got me started on this. I was like, I need to watch a documentary to refresh all the cursory knowledge of all the things this guy's like casually mentioning. Like now I know so much more about Chamberlain and why Churchill came into power. Versus I did when I started reading that book, which they were talking about people who were in that room being like, yeah, Chamberlain said this and then turned to me. It's just like, so I will read that. I'm actually jealous because you're reading that Winston Churchill book right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The thing about Rise and Fall of the Third Reich that's so good is that it provides so much like pre-World War II history of Germany, not going all the way back, but it probably starts in like the teens, maybe the 20s, and all of that just adds so much context to Hitler and his actions and how he came to power. I know we had this conversation last time, but it's easy to be like, oh, Hitler was a monster, he's a terrible person. And it's like, yeah, he absolutely was, but he was also like a crazy fucking good political manipulator, and that's what got him into power. Like there are plenty of fucking weirdos out there with crazy ideas and that are hateful. They're not in power, but Hitler was, because he was able to manipulate XYZ. And it's just this crazy, I just remember like being shocked so many times in that book because of the weird fucking political gambits he would do that would pay off. And it was just like, how the fuck did that? How could you even dreamed of that and made it work and made it happen? Is bonkers.
Yeah, that was the other nice thing. This documentary started with like Hindenburg, the previous chancellor's like actually he was president, like his downfall and all, and like like Hitler slowly eking him out, and then I think it was on his birthday, or no, Hindenburg died, and then he like paraded the body around for one day, and then it was like, oh, I'm chancellor now, yay! It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah.
Anyways, that's enough about World War II. We are limited to a certain amount of time every week, and we have filled up 4 weeks worth. Jake, you have something written here that I absolutely don't want to hear about as someone who this used to regularly happen to. So please tell everyone about it.
Well, this was the first time it ever happened to me.
Oh.
And it was the night I got back from your wedding. So it was the first night back in my normal bed. Yeah. So to set the scene a little bit, folks, we're going to talk about sleep paralysis and hallucinatory visions for a minute. Everybody familiar? Ian, familiar with sleep paralysis as a concept? Sure. To set the stage a little bit, our bedroom is like the bed is against one wall, and then off to one side of it is a sliding door that goes to the backyard, and that's got those like shutters that you can like twist and they open. You can slide them so that you can get in and out. And Waffle will like stick his head in there, and they'll make like a little rustling noise or whatever as he's like looking around outside and moving in and out of them. So I wake up. And I wake up because I hear the shutters rustling, but I can also feel Waffle under my arm.
Oh boy!
I'm like, did Hazel get up? What happened? Then I see a flash, like somebody took a photograph, and then my eyes adjust, and I can see like the shape of a person standing in the corner of the room. Will loves it. And it's like just like a normal woman who starts like immediately talking and being like, hi, hey, hello, don't freak out, don't worry. And then I start to kind of tune out what she's saying, because intellectually I'm like, I understand what's happening to me. I know that it's sleep paralysis. I know that she's not real, but I'm still like, I have to stop this. This is too much. So it went on for like 15 or 20 seconds, and I was finally able to get one of my hands was like able to move, and I reached over and I put my hand on Hazel's shoulder, and then that's when like I woke up, because my brain was like, if I can wake Hazel up, she can then be like either a witness to this or it will stop.
My
and
God.
It stopped, but it was like one of those where like in a movie there's like a hard cut, but like a match cut, and like the lighting changes and the scene is a little bit different. It was like that, where I touched Hazel and then it was like hard cut. The sun has moved a little, so it's a little bit brighter outside. The shape in the corner of the room is gone, and now I'm like actually awake.
God, that's some David Lynch shit right there.
It was super weird.
How'd the photo come out though?
It's there somewhere.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I used to get sleep. I haven't had it. I had one episode, but I had it happen a couple months ago. But it used to happen regularly when I was in my old apartment on Montgomery in Jersey City, and specifically, I'll give you the address later, everybody.
Thank you. I was gonna ask for it.
Oh, good. But yeah, I used to like wake up and just be like, I can't move. But I know it's sleep paralysis, so try not to freak out. But no, so I never hallucinated. My eyes were always closed. But it was just like, I can't move right now. Yeah. I know this is this. So I just would keep myself calm and be like, you're going to move in a second. Don't worry about it. And then it would just be like force. And then I would move this arm and just everything would move. And you just be like, oh, okay, I'm good now. But I wake up in the middle of the night and I'll see like light movement under the door or anything like that, and then there's nights where I just can't fall back to sleep, because if I close my eyes, then that's when the thing's coming into the room. So there was one time where I like literally got up, locked the door, and then I was like, what if the lock doesn't work? So then I put a basket of laundry in front of the door, and Karen was like, in the morning, she was like, you're an idiot. That's not going to keep anyone out. And I was like, Karen, it's not to keep them out. It's to make a noise to wake me up if they come into the room.
Oh my God.
I just like, I get in that mode.
Down on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. And I know nothing's ever going to happen to me, but Better safe than sorry, kids.
Mm.
The state of the world, right? So yeah. That's terrifying, Jake. I'm sorry that happened to you. It's the Jersey water, I swear. So sorry.
I didn't drink the water.
You didn't have
Wait, I
any
did.
water?
I drank the water off your table.
You should just drink sangria the whole time.
No.
Folks, that is the chit chat section. It's a little quick section there. Now we're moving on to the QR code section where Ian holds up a QR code, scratches his face, and you got to snap it as quick as you can. We are on target for the next little bit here called Games You Have Been Playing. Who wants to go first?
I don't have much to say.
Okay,
Let's go, Jake. Let's go, Jake.
Okay, Jake goes first then.
So I just wanted to talk, in town for Will's wedding over the weekend. But I was staying with Kyle, and he had a thing to do on Saturday morning, so I stayed home and I finished Bolt Gun on his enormous 65-inch television.
What?
Yeah, it's jumbo. But it's real good. I think Will and I, when we talked about it, whatever it was, a week or two ago, we were both kind of at the same point, about halfway or 2/3 of the way through the game. But I finished it. I unlocked all the weapons. They are all very fun. And I think I was telling Ian this maybe at the wedding. Now, having finished Bolt Gun, I really appreciate it as, it fits in, the boomer shooter mold, but it's not too complicated. It really is just like a super simple game. You have a character and they hand you a gun and you go and shoot things. There's no like upgrades, there's no like ability tree. It's just running and jumping and gunning. There was some like wonky platforming in the latter third of the game that I had a little bit of trouble with, and maybe it would be easier on mouse and keyboard and not on a Switch Pro controller. But all in all, very happy with it.
That's awesome.
Very pleased.
Yeah, I played the first couple levels, and the thing that really shocked me was it feels so good. And like I don't mean this against the game, but boomer shooters are not that hard to feel good. It's just like, give me speed, give me shoot. But there's something about the shooting that they just give you such a feel. Like there's a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a nice rumble to it. There's like I think your screen shakes a little bit. Like you feels like you're just and it just it feels fantastic. And then I'm glad you brought up the simplicity, because it's the game is so simple and smooth that it actually confused me a bit. Because I was going in these levels, and at first I was like, okay, let me take it a little slow. I'll kill these guys. Let me look around this corner. And then I would, for like 60 seconds, just fucking bolt through a level. Pun unintended. And just literally just run through the level killing people. And then I'd be like, wait, I missed a bunch of areas. And I'd go back, and maybe there was a secret or two. But I was like, am I in the wrong direction? Like, I must have done something wrong. I'm going way too fast here. And it was like, no. I think the game just wants me to do that. And it's so smooth that it's off-putting to me in a way, because I'm used to these levels. Hey, you got to make sure you approach it the right way. Don't miss all these secrets and stuff. But no, I was fucking blowing through those levels and having so much fun with it. Feels fantastic, looks fantastic. I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah, real good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other two I have on this list are even briefer. I played also at Kyle's house the boutique Annapurna Interactive published Storyteller. I unfortunately can't remember the actual name of the developers, but it's have either of you seen press for this game or trailers, stills? Okay,
no.
So it's
maybe
drag the things into the thing, right?
Yeah. So it's like you get a book, and it gives you like a title of a story, and it says, like man marries woman, and then you have to put the pictures together to get the story to do that. And then they get a little bit more open to interpretation as you go on. You can get a little more creative with them. But I finished the game in like 2 hours. None of them were particularly challenging. It was like a neat art direction, kind of quirky, but all in all, maybe like a 6 or a 7 in my mind. But
yeah, it sounds like one of those things where they're like, hey, we have a cute idea. but we're not going to really expand on it. We're not going to push the boundaries. We're not going to make it challenging in any way. We're just going to rely heavily on cute idea. And it's like, that's not fucking enough, folks, you know?
Baby's first case of the golden idol. Where that game made me feel really dumb, and this one made me feel super smart.
What was the deal we made? We're gonna wait 2 years, and then you're gonna go back and play Case of the Golden Idol.
I think that was the number.
DLC was so good.
I'll go back.
I can't wait for you.
I need to finish that DLC. Sorry to interrupt.
Then I played, just released today on the Switch, Bleak Sword DX, which I think was originally published for Apple Arcade last year or 2 years ago, just as Bleak Sword. It's like tiny stick figure Elden Ring. It's one of these games where it
kind of looks like Nidhogg in a way. Same art style as Nidhogg.
The levels are all just tiny squares, like Overland or Into the Breach, or like your Captain Toad kind of stuff, where they're these tiny little levels, and it's you as little sword person against all these various enemies. It's pretty fun. It's unforgiving in the way that games one might compare to Dark Souls or Elden Ring are. But it's got its charm. I'm only like an hour into it, but having fun with it.
Nice. That looks fun. I have been playing, the Will over here has been playing Tears of the Kingdom. And we can kind of jointly talk about this. I have moved into the final region of the game to go check out stuff over there. And then I've actually been playing at work a bunch because I had to go capture. I had to make we have the X best weapons and X best armor in Tears of the Kingdom, and so I was like, let me go do these. So the weapons were a pain in the ass because a lot of it, especially for this game, is this weapon plus a Lionel horn. It's makes an incredible weapon. So I didn't necessarily do that. I just picked up the one item and was like, mix this with that. And especially for the armor, the best armor is the one you get for doing all 120 shrines. And I'm not about to go do that. So I was kind of just wandering around finding items and doing more stuff. So I've just I'm focused in on finishing the game now, but it was genuinely nice to go to the final area, and I encountered, I was just expecting it to still be the same from Breath of the Wild, and I don't know why, but everything was different and changed, and it was another fresh breath of air, because that's that final region is where I spent the least amount of time in Breath of the Wild. So now getting there with still a little bit more freshness is good. How are you faring?
Yeah, I'm about the same. I finished the 4th area a couple days ago. I haven't touched the game since then. I am definitely slowing down on the game, and I think part of that is I'm not crazy about the main quest in this game. I don't think they're bad, but there is one of them that is fantastic, and I feel like the rest of them are okay, and so it's I'm ready to finish the game. I'm trying to do that, but I'm also 50-60 hours into the game, and I'm getting tired of it, and the big set pieces aren't really doing much for me. So I'm excited to finish the game so that we can have a big long discussion about it. I still think, look, I'll spoil it. I, over the past week, have dropped from a 10 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 with this game. I think there's just too many little detriments that are making the long run of the game less enjoyable, just enough to drop it down to a 9 out of 10. It's still a fantastic game, but I think it I don't want to say it gets long in the tooth, but I think in the back third, it really starts to show some weaknesses. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I think part of me, I tend to agree with you on that. Only because it's hard to keep a game a 10 out of 10 for 60 hours. If we both sat down, did all 4 of those main things, did the final thing, and beat the boss and beat the game, it'd still be a 10 out of 10. But this game distracts you and you want to go do the other things. So where Case of the Golden Idol is linear, you play right through it, 10 out of 10. Case of the Golden Idol was 60 hours of that, and the creativity was waning and that stuff.
Yeah, it'd be too much, yeah.
It'd be too much. So I tend to give some forgiveness there where you've 10 out of 10 after 20 hours, and me getting bored of it is because of repetition. You simply can't do anything about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's fair to say. I also, like, it's rare for a game to be an actual 10 out of 10, so I think 9 out of 10 is more reasonable. But I'm totally there with you. Like, I'm definitely slowing down. Karen's actually starting it tonight because I have to work this weekend, and I was like, hey, I have to work all weekend. You can just be in the other room playing Tears of the Kingdom if you want. I'll, like, bring the Steam. My plan was just to play Diablo in between stuff, so that'll be certainly fun. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, I totally see where you're coming from. Next up on the list, I have been playing Lost Planet. Lost Planet is a third-person shooter.
Hold the fucking phone. You got, under Lost Planet, you have here double dipping achievements. Is this what I fucking think it is?
No.
Are you back on your crack cocaine again?
No, I'm actually not. I just found this funny. I'm not that into achievements anymore, but I am playing... I bought Lost... So I had Lost... When Lost Planet first had a demo, I played the absolute ever-loving shit out of it because it was so much fun. Then the game came out, and I played the game, and it was fantastic. Then, years later, Lost Planet 2 came out, and then Lost Planet 3 came out, and I never got into either one of those. So, cut to Will on his phone, email, says, Lost Planet is on sale on Xbox for like $1.99. I'm like, you know what? I like Lost Planet. I'll buy it, and I'll play it again, because I'm kind of getting bored of Tears of the Kingdom. So I come home, I boot it up, and it pops up, it says Lost Planet Colonies, and the subtitle for Lost Planet is Extreme Condition, as we all know. So I was like, what the heck is happening here? So it turns out the Colonies edition is like the fancier edition that came out a little bit later, and had like more multiplayer maps and all this sort of stuff. So therefore, on the Xbox, for some reason, it has an entirely different achievement pool. And they're all the exact same achievements. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I just wanted to mention, I'm playing through the game again, and it's bonus. I just get achievements again as I'm going through it. So, Lost Planet's super fun. You're on an ice planet fighting aliens and snow pirates. You've got these mechs that you can run around, pull the guns off of. You can swap guns on the mechs. You can run the mechs around. There's different types. There's ones that are like land speeders that jump. There's like jumpy guys who jump really high. There's like the more crazy ones that kind of hit stuff and have big guns on them. And then I was fighting a giant dune worm, but in the snow today. And it's a really good game. And it's pretty quick. It's It's a good game. I highly recommend it. The story's a little like basic. It feels like Metal Gear cutscenes, but then they made them 15 seconds each, and you're just like, did you not have enough time to make cutscenes? But they're like super detailed in what they are. So it's got all like the classic early Xbox 360 Japanese game where just like tons of politics and different like factions and stuff, and you're just like, you just introduced me in the first 5 minutes. I've mentioned like 50 different things, so I don't know what's happening. But it's good. I might try Lost Planet 2 and 3 after beating this, but we'll see. And then finally, Diablo 4 released over the weekend, or on the 6th. It was early access over the weekend.
Fuck you. It was Tuesday. The fucking fat cats got in early, but Tuesday was the
it's fat cats that got in early. It was Tuesday. It was released. I had some money in my Blizzard Bucks account, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'll just use that money towards Diablo 4. So I went to go buy Diablo 4, and you can either select your Blizzard Bucks or PayPal or your credit card. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I can't use it towards something.
That's some real sketchy. Like, buy more credits so you can spend more than you need to. Fuck that. So
I had 50 Blizzard Bucks.
Get fucking David in here.
And I was
David from Save Data in here. You need to curse him out.
Yell at him. So then I was like, the total for the $69 version was $74.30 something. And I was like, okay, I'll put $25 in, then I'll have 75, and I'll just the leftover cents are just Bobby Kotick can masturbate with those, whatever he wants to do with them. And so I was like, okay. So I put in PayPal $25, and it's like, okay, your thing's pending. And so I'm sitting here being like, I just want to play Diablo 4 right now. Yeah, but it's pending right now. Your charges pending. I'm like, excuse me. So 24 hours later on Wednesday night, I got my $25. Granted, they do say it can take up to 3 days, 24 to 3 days. It can also be instant. No one really knows how it works.
It's honestly,
I did find an interesting thread. Sorry,
it's probably PayPal's fault. PayPal's kind of falling apart without eBay now.
Yeah, so I put in my credit card. So if anyone wants to hack my Battle.net account, my credit card's in there if you need it. But I was just like so mad. It's like, please. And then I was thinking, like, what if I just pay with a credit card now to get $25, but then I'll have $25 stuck in the Blizzard Bucks system. I can't do this.
So I just want to say, so you use your credit card to add funds to the account.
I use
had
PayPal.
to wait for it. PayPal, okay.
Yeah.
Because I purchased the fourth Devil game around the same time, probably like 5 or 6 p.m. on Monday, a couple hours before it came out, like 2 hours before it came out. And I used my credit card. But granted, I purchased it right away. I didn't put funds in my account. So they could have just been overloaded. I don't know.
Yeah. So I started it today. I just got past where I had finished in the beta a couple weeks ago or months ago, whenever that was. And so I'm a little bit further. I'm level 10, I think. I just hit level 10.
Okay.
I'm a barbarian. I started as a sorceress, and I was like not really feeling it as much as I wanted to. Like, I was a monk in Diablo 3, and I was like, I just want to be a physical boy because I like being a physical boy. So I went back, got the barbarian, and fucked some shit up with the axes and all that stuff. So it's a good time. It feels good to be playing Diablo. Diablo is
going to be in the Goody discussion or initial thoughts?
I could see
it's too early. It's too early.
Yeah, it's too early to say.
I have problems with the game.
Ian has problems with the game.
Let me start with the thing I don't. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, are you like a fan of the dungeon crawler genre, or is this like broader gameplay?
I am. I enjoyed Diablo 2. I really liked Torchlight. There's probably a couple other games that I've liked that I've forgotten about. I'll start with the positive, which is I was surprised the intro to Diablo 4, the intro cinematic. I know it's not surprising to say, hey, Blizzard made a great game cinematic, but it was very, very good. Like, it looked fantastic. It moved well. It was introducing characters and just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And this ain't Diablo 3, folks. There ain't no fucking rainbows in here. This game's fucking dark, y'all. Like, I had to kill children. I've had to kill mothers.
Isn't that illegal?
Didn't You're illegal.
After the Call of Duty in the airport?
No,
the ESRB was like, you can't do that.
Maybe. Well, the ESRB, they don't.
Yeah, maybe when they were toddlers.
Things. Sure.
But spoiler for a small side quest, but I had this side quest where this lady's like, I don't know where my husband is. I don't know where my husband is. And I was like, okay, well, come with me. Let's find your husband. And we find her husband, and he's in the wild, chained up, fully skinned. And the wife's like, my poor Fyodor, what happened to you? And he's just like, pain. I need more pain. I love it. And you're just like, what the fuck? And this lady shows up and she's just like, I gave him what he wanted. He always wanted pain. And it turns out she's like a demon in disguise.
Hellraiser DLC.
And it's just like, what the? And you go fight the lady and you come back and the husband's there and he has a knife in his heart and he's dead. And the wife's like, I have nothing to pay you, but you can take the knife if you want. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, it's, I appreciate it. I had no problem with Diablo 3, but I'm glad that they fully committed to, oh, you want darker? We're going to give you fucking dark shit in this. And it's really good because of that. Problems with the game. Number one, Will, in your opinion, as a professional gamer, is this game too zoomed in for you?
I'm glad you brought that up because yes, I don't know.
Can you not
if
adjust the camera?
You can, but you can't. But it stops you from zooming out far enough. It's like 10, 15, 20% too close.
I don't know if my brain don't work knowing the same more, but I distinctly remember the beta not being that zoomed in, or else I would have mentioned it. It was not that zoomed in on the beta. So
yeah, it's weird.
I don't know why. Like, I got used to it, but I feel like the beta was zoomed out.
I do and I don't. Like, I was in a boss fight this morning and the boss kept leaving the screen. Like, the boss, half the fight was off screen casting AoEs, and I'm like, I can't see your fucking animation to tell if you're like which AoE you're casting, because you literally just leave the fucking screen, and it's fucking wild. Like, the whole thing about Diablo was that, like, you zoom out, you're a little guy on the screen, and you're fucking swarming with people, and it feels like they just have it zoomed in a little bit too much, and it's driving me crazy.
And I don't know if you'll agree with me here, Ian, but I think we've been spoiled by a video game that has one of the greatest zooms ever, which is Factorio.
Factorio is pretty great, but there's plenty
the most
that
incredible
have
zoom.
RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, this game is all about, you're going to be attacking at range. People are going to come at you from all over. You need to be able to see the map, not like the actual map, but like to see your surroundings a bit. And there are definitely situations in this game where people are off screen doing ranged attacks at you. And you can really only tell because you see like a snippet of their arm and you see projectiles coming at you. And you're like, fuck you, buddy. Why are you off the fucking screen? And you go towards them and they run off screen and keep shooting at you. And it's like, I appreciate if you want to keep the zoom level that way, but you can't keep the zoom level that way and then also have enemies that deliberately stay quote unquote off screen because you're too zoomed in. And it's driving me wild, honestly. I'm still playing the game and enjoying it, but it's such a simple thing that they could have fixed or added an option for to like let you zoom out even further. And I need somebody to mod it in, but I know they can't because it's an always online game. So it's a little upsetting for me.
Yeah.
Before I go to my next criticism, Will, do you have anything else you want to talk about with Diablo 4?
I just want to mention, I don't know if it worked for you. I had played it in the beta, but the opening sort of quest line I thought was very well done. It kind of got me. Had a little gotcha moment, and I didn't see it coming. And I thought it was really cool. And it plays into, like you're saying, where you're just like, it plays into the trope of the hero saves the town and then does that dark shit. Like, oh, this isn't Diablo 3, this is Diablo 4. And it's just like, hey, here's a bunch of things. So, yeah. Anyways, move on to your final complaint.
This is a complaint I have with Diablo 4. But genuinely, this is a complaint I have with 99% of loot games nowadays. Which is, I'm playing through Diablo 4, and they do a pretty good job of spreading out mechanics. So, like, you know, you can't access upgrading your armor until it's like level 10, for example, or whatever. You can't access gem crafting and slotting until level 15. So it's like you got to play the game a little bit, and they're like, hey, here's a mechanic. Here's another mechanic. There is zero fucking incentive for you to engage with any of that shit. There is zero incentive for you to buy weapon and armor from stores. There is zero incentive for you to craft weapon and armor or upgrade them. There is zero incentive for you to like add sockets or put gems in sockets, etc. Because no matter what you fucking do with your existing weapons, armor, etc., within 10 minutes you will find something out in the wild that has a higher score. That is better for you to use. And I know that's not just a Diablo problem, but it's really fucking pissing me off that in a loot heavy game, they introduce all these sorts of mechanics, and it's like, great, I'm not going to fucking use any of that because it's a complete waste of time and money until the end game, until max cap. And it's a big fucking problem in pretty much all loot games. And I'm genuinely pissed that nobody has solved it, and it's not a past problem for the industry, because I would love to upgrade my stuff. I would love to dick around with gems and crafting and stuff and be like, oh, this guy gives me a +2 lightning, which is my sorcerer build, so I'm going to keep that gear and keep upgrading it. There's zero fucking incentive to do that when it's a waste of resources and I'm going to find something better in the wild. I mean, do you guys have that same frustration with loot-based games?
Some of them, yes. That was definitely my big problem with like the Borderlands games. Not that there was really like an upgrade of any sort in Borderlands, but if you found a gun that you liked, might have to be like, well, I'm probably only going to use it for like 5 more minutes before I get a more powerful gun. But Can I talk about Destiny for a second?
Yeah, Destiny is worse. I'm sure they have fixed a little bit of it recently, but I had the exact same fucking problem, which is I would find a great gun and then the light level would go up and I'd be like, fuck, I gotta drop that.
When was the last time you actually played Destiny?
This was Destiny 2 launch.
Okay.
And I'm going to counter your argument by saying I know they've added systems. Jake, how fucking confusing are those systems though?
I guess
that's the other problem.
The basic system of if you find a gun now that has a perk set that you like, you can hold on to it and then you can infuse it with another gun to boost its light level so that you don't have
That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, there are so many perks now that unless you have an encyclopedia next to you, you just have to kind of remember what they all do. And I will say they were able to, because when they were like, and now we're going to introduce crafting weapons. Initially, I was like, well, why would I do that if I can just find a gun if I already have a gun that I like with perks that I like, why am I going to craft that same gun? They added specifically to crafted weapons, you can get enhanced versions of those perks that you like. So if you want to craft the gun and level it up, then they're like, oh, if you like this perk that, if you get a headshot, it increases your reload speed. Well, now you can reload even faster when you get a headshot.
See, that's a solid answer.
Yeah.
And in Diablo, they don't have any of that shit. It's fucked. It just pisses me off. It's like, this is not an impossible problem. Clearly, Destiny has come up with a solution. I was taking a shower today. I came up with like 2 other fucking solutions you could do. Like, this has been a problem for a long time in the industry. And I'm not asking people to reinvent the wheel here. Like just fucking come up with a new standard for loot games so that I can actually have attachment to my loot, have loot that is worthwhile and worth investing into and using for longer than 10 to 15 minutes of game time.
I think also in Torchlight, you could combine items, or at the very least, you could combine gems. Where if you had like 2 basic gems, you could combine them into a more powerful.
You can do that in Diablo.
Okay.
So you can at least do that.
Doesn't solve the problem entirely, but.
Yeah, I think I really, honestly, the Destiny solution is one of the solutions I came up with in the shower, which is if I have a piece of gear and I really like the perks, but the base number is too low, let me feed it a higher level item.
Yeah,
so that it takes
another item.
Yeah, so then it takes the higher level, but it keeps the perks and maybe charge me a little bit of credits along the way. So it's just frustrating because like I do enjoy that loot loop. And every time I go, hey, what if I start to min-max my character and my gear? I'm like, there's no fucking point. There's zero fucking point. So to your question about Game of the Year, it's a good Diablo game. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a great Diablo game. I don't think it's a great loot game. I don't think it's a great dungeon crawler game. Because there's even shit like, and we can move on after this. There's even shit like, I'm glad you brought up Torchlight. Torchlight, one of the best things it did was you had pets. Mm-hmm. And by pet, I mean, you're going through the dungeon, you found so much shit that your inventory's full, you would hand off stuff to your pet and you'd say, go sell it in town. And they would disappear. They'd come back a couple minutes later and they'd be like, here's all the gold from the stuff you wanted to sell or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's not in Diablo. You have to go back to fucking town and do it. And it's like, folks, we fucking solved this like 15 years ago. We solved this fucking problem. And we still have it where I'm like, oh shit, I'm halfway through a dungeon, but I got to start juggling my fucking inventory because it's full. Like, and everything in my inventory is marked as junk, but I don't necessarily want to drop it because I want the resources from it. We solved the fucking problem. And that's what's pissing me off about Diablo is that sure, it's dark, the story's cool, it looks great, it feels pretty good. We're still having basic fucking mechanical problems with the game. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, even Borderlands I feel like those vending machines were pretty frequent enough that it was rare that you'd get like a full inventory without being able to sell off the stuff that you didn't need.
I mean, granted, in Diablo, you can travel back whenever you want and then travel right back to where you were.
With like portals?
But like, so...
Because that's
if you're in the world,
you're in a dungeon. What if you're in a dungeon?
I think if you're in a dungeon, you can just click on the town, you warp there, and it spawns the portal to go back to right where you were.
I still don't want to have to do that though. Just let me dump the stuff into a separate menu.
Yeah,
and then it comes back as money.
Yeah, because that's like we've talked about now a couple of times with Gran Turismo and Doom Eternal. That's interrupting the thing that I want to do
Yes,
to go
exactly.
do a thing that I don't want to do. So yeah, Torchlight, the
Exactly.
solution, yeah, with just giving stuff to your pet and sending your pet to town and knowing that like, okay, well now I don't get the extra DPS from my
Yeah.
pet for 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
It's still elegant.
Yeah. So just to cap off the Diablo 4 thing, I will end with one more positive thing about Diablo, which is it's a fantastic podcast game.
Hell yeah.
All the side quests, most of the main quests, I just keep that dialogue super low and blast through it because I've got like 80 fucking podcast episodes I need to catch up on. So it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning, an hour at night. Fucking great podcast game.
Fuck yeah. Great podcast game. That is the game section. Now we move on to the news, and I get to hit this button. It's time for the news.
The news.
Wow. It's incredible. I gotta re-record that now that I'm married. Folks, we are gonna talk about the news here. Ian, you have put something here. The Apple Vision Pro has been revealed. Can you tell the folks about that?
I feel like one of the first episodes of Local Chat was talking about the Apple VR headset rumors. So let me give you the quick rundown.
Roll the
clip. Roll the clip. We got some information from it, from the WWDC reveal, but we didn't get a whole lot of tech specs. So I'll give you the quick rundown. This is a VR headset. It's a VR headset. They're trying to position a lot of it as a pseudo AR or MR for mixed reality. The idea being there's a whole bunch of cameras on the outside, so a lot of it is pass through. Like by default, you are viewing a video of the outside world instead of immersing you in a VR space. But it is still two screens in front of your eyes. The screens specifically are larger, higher resolution than 4K OLED screens per eye. Apparently the resolution is fantastic. It's also no controllers. It's all hand tracking. It's also eye tracking. So the main way the interface works is you look at something with your eyes and then you pinch with your fingers to basically click or interact with it. So you look at a button with your eyes, and then you do a pinch motion. You don't have to reach out and pinch it. Like people were saying, they were keeping their fingers in their lap, and downward facing cameras were picking it up. And apparently it works really, really well. The combination of eye tracking and finger tracking.
Can I pinch Norman Reedus's butt in Death Stranding?
No, because this is not a gaming device. There are probably going to be some games for it, but the fact that it doesn't have controllers means it's really not going to work with a lot of mainstream VR games. There was a tease for Rec Room in it, and it does have hand tracking, etc. But you're not going to be playing VTOL VR on it. You're not going to be playing Pavlov VR. You're all this stuff that requires complex controls. You're not really going to be able to do it with your hands.
Yeah, so what's the point?
It's a lot of the videos were just like, hey, it's all about video conferencing. It's all about having big monitors in front of your face. It's all about the cameras are on the outside. So if your kid's having a birthday party, you put the headset on and you stare at them, and it captures a 3D video of the birthday party.
During the birthday
Which is
party.
that was genuinely one of the videos was, your kid's having a birthday, put this headset on and capture a 3D video of it. The other weird thing is there is a screen embedded in the front of the display that is outward facing. So it gives you the swim goggles effect where when you have the headset on, people who are looking at you see your face and eyes basically quote unquote through the goggles, but really it's just a screen displaying to the outside.
Only if you're doing pass through. If you're watching a movie or doing stuff, it doesn't show your eyes.
Yes, but to be clear, the default mode on this is pass through. If you put this on, it's pass through. And just to be clear, pass through, folks, is you put the headset on and you are seeing the outside world through the cameras on the headset. 99% of VR headsets are you put it on, it shows you a virtual space by default, and you can choose to do pass through selectively. The Apple Vision Pro is all about, no, you are seeing pass through nearly 100% of the time. We're overlaying menus on top of the outside world. the video of the outside world, and you can choose to screen it all the way out for certain situations.
Steve Jobs died for this.
Yeah. It also has a battery pack. So the battery's not on the headset. It's on this like weird 3-foot tether cord and then a battery pack, which gives you 2 hours of battery life. I think that covers a majority of it. The big thing, however, is, folks, the price, which is higher than anybody guessed, including myself on a previous episode of Local Chat when I said $3,000. It was not enough. It's $3,500 for this. I've done folks, tell me your reaction to this. What do you guys think?
I mean, we joked that, when they did Horizon Call of the Mountain, we're like, oh great, you pay $1,500 to pay a Horizon game. When I'm paying $3,500 to get on a Zoom call?
Yeah.
No.
Pretty much. I'm not going to say there's zero games with this, but the fact that they don't have controllers with it, they have announced controllers, and it's a closed ecosystem, points to gaming is not their focus. It's not their second focus. It's not their third focus. This is a lifestyle device. This is like you said, I'm going to do some FaceTime. I'm going to look at browser stuff, and I'm going to try and take weird videos with it. And like for all circumstances, from the people who have hands-on impressions, the tech sounds incredible. The screens sound incredible. The finger tracking, the eye tracking apparently works really, really well. There was one person who said for the look at something with your eyes and pinch motion to interact with it, they said it worked flawlessly for 30 minutes, to the point where the 1 or 2 times that it didn't work, they like had this lurching feeling where they're like, wait, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, it was so accurate and so well. It was working so well. So there is some innovation and cool tech in here, but they are pigeonholing themselves into a very weird niche here that is worse than the metaverse play. At least the metaverse play was like, okay, I know you want us to use it for business, but everybody's using it for gaming, and it's pretty great for gaming. There's not even that option with this one.
I'll say I didn't watch the conference, but because the Death Stranding news got announced alongside it, kind of, I guess I assumed there would be gaming. Like, there was no talk of even like Apple Arcade or anything.
I did not watch it. I read a lot of summaries and reviews. I think the closest we got was one of the screenshots had Rec Room as an icon in it, and that was it.
Wow.
They did announce Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel will be supported on it.
Ooh. Competition.
Yeah. I'm okay with this though, because it sounds like those 1.5 inch 4K plus OLED screens are incredible. And I can't wait for that shit to filter down to a sub 1000 VR headset in a couple years, because that's the shit I'm really excited about, is better eye tracking, better finger tracking, better screens, and we're going to have an incredible VR gaming headset 4 or 5 years down the line.
I will say, you didn't mention it, but the creepiest part was the FaceTime thing, where it shows people in your view, and then you can't. You're obviously wearing the device, so you can't do a camera view. So it creates a 3D CGI rendering of you. And they showed that in the video, and it was the most terrifying human I've ever seen. Like, kill me.
I think they should just show this is what the other people should see. It's just the close-up of your eyes.
So spooky.
Exactly.
And they were also saying, like, for when you buy this, they'll, in the Apple Store, they like measure your face, and like when you first get it, it like scans you have to point it at your face to scan it to your face. And all this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
It's not like buying a suit.
Yeah. I'm just waiting, like Ian said, for it to trickle down. Trickle down economics. But with
it's the only
VR,
it's the only place it
time.
works.
It worked the
only
first
place
time.
it works is technology.
They're gonna start putting VR into low-income neighborhoods.
Yeah. So we did get, I don't know that we talked about it, but we did get the Quest 3 announcement last week, which unfortunately didn't have a whole lot of specs with it, but roughly the processor is twice as powerful as the Quest 3. They're aiming for $500 or less. It's going to have the improved controllers that the Quest Pro has, and the screens are going to be slightly better. So honestly, that Quest, as much as I hate Meta and Facebook, the Quest 2 and the Quest 3, less than $500, it's a fantastic way to get into VR as a standalone thing. You just buy that and you're fucking VR gaming. And Apple Vision Pro, the way this thing got flamed online, I don't even see this being successful because of Apple diehards. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, but who's going to be buying? There's not going to be any gamers buying the Apple thing. They're going to be buying the Quest. Yeah?
Yeah. So it really just leaves Apple diehards, the people who pay $500 for fucking wireless Beats Pros. And the way this was getting flamed, I don't see even enough of those people buying a $3,500 work VR headset.
Yeah, like,
I don't see it.
Unless there's going to be like an influx of businesses buying them for their employees. Like, that's why I have a MacBook, because my work bought it for me.
Yeah.
But like,
that's where like Vive. That's where Vive has really, I don't want to say cornered that market, but they've been in the business VR section for years. So if they're like, hey, our $1,500 headset, which everybody thought was expensive, or you can buy a $3,500 one, the businesses are probably going to go for the $1,500
yeah,
one.
I don't understand, because I do remember I watched one video for it that was set to Supertramp's Dreamer.
Yeah.
Which made me almost hate that song. And it was just all like the hypothetical use cases they were showing for this thing. I'm like, wearing this while I'm making toast? What? What? No.
Yeah. When I'm playing with my kid.
Or is it virtual?
Yeah. Like the only one
is it a
in that
toast
commercial
mini game?
Like the only one in that commercial that made sense that I would have loved is on an airplane. Like, fuck yeah, give me a slim VR headset
and I don't
looks
have to
incredible,
see or hear
works
any
great.
of the horrible nonsense that's happening on the airplane.
But you can do that with cheaper headsets.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see the fart seats on airplanes now?
I have seen the fart seats. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of okay with those. Honestly, I need my.
I'm just going to become a terrorist.
Just spin them around, make them feet seats. You know, those little piggies up in there. Zach would love that. Zach from Save Data. God, he'd be all over that. Two sets of feet in his face.
It's these heinous double-decker chairs, potentially using drones at night as advertising displays.
Off-world colonies.
There's a couple other things that I'm like, I'm going to start blowing things up.
Oh boy.
In GTA.
Donald Trump getting indicted. It's like, what's going wrong with this country, you know?
Jimmy Pesto's voice actor. What the fuck?
He was on vacation. It was a peaceful protest.
I kind of want them to write that into Bob's that Jimmy Pesto was at January 6th.
We don't talk about Jimmy Pesto anymore.
That's so close to Garfield. It's not even funny. They're both Italian.
Both love lasagna and hate Mondays.
I can't wait for Ian to dig into the Italian part of World War II more to find out that Garfield was there.
Benito Mussolini's
at some point they ran out of bullets. They ran out of bullets and they started using rigatoni. It was wild.
Rigatoni is what happens to Italian people when they die.
I thought you were going to say that's what the Italians got in the musical business.
That's even more stupid.
That's very good. Oh, that's very funny.
Oh boy.
Okay, should we talk about the Summer Games Fest recap? We can be quick about this.
Did you guys actually watch this? Because I didn't.
I didn't watch it.
I had to watch the entire thing for work, so I did.
Was it 2 hours again?
It was 2 hours again. It wasn't as crazy. Oh. Like, it's not. The problem with the Game Awards is it's half reveals, half like awards
ads,
and so this one is mostly reveals, and then there's like the ad section where it's just like shitty mobile game, but it's like it's a reveal trailer. And it's just like ugh. So there wasn't a crazy.
Nick Cage just coming to Dead by Daylight.
Yes, so Nick Cage was there on stage with Jeff Keighley. He's coming to Dead by Daylight as a survivor. He talked about how he did all of the voice acting. He wanted to fuse with the player to let them know that they were one. So every single sound coming out of his character is from him. And he kept reassuring people that. And
That's
it was
cool.
very funny and wild to see him on stage there. I hope
On a
Karen
scale
gets
of
back
1
into
to
Dead by Daylight.
Pacino, how was it?
It was I didn't see the Pacino one.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
Ian
Game
and I were
Awards,
watching
wasn't
that. That was
it was
when we were
wild.
watching.
It was wild.
Where was I? Oh, it was
Yeah.
in Israel. That's where I was. He was about the same as Keanu Reeves, but he was genuinely answering questions and seemed not. He said someone very close to him was into Dead by Daylight, and that's how he got connected to it, and was just like
Nice.
very like casual talking about it. Kind of seemed to know what he was talking about, so it was kind of refreshing to see just Nicolas Cage talking to Jeff Keighley on a stage. So yeah. They showed off some Mortal Kombat gameplay, which was really neat to see. It got really gross at the end. I don't care about Mortal Kombat, but I'll play a new Mortal Kombat if it's good and people like it. Baldur's Gate 3 showed some new characters. Jason Isaacs is the new antagonist in Baldur's Gate 3. And they showed someone else voice acting. I can't remember who. And that was interesting.
Me like you, Jason.
Baldur's Gate 3, I thought it already came out. Yeah, I do also like Jason Isaacs. I guess it's been in early access this whole time. It's just going 1.0.
Yeah. But I think it was actually like a fairly early access.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I'll play that when it finally comes out. Spider-Man 2 has a release date of October 20th on the PlayStation 5. They showed more key art with actual Venom in it. It is not Eddie Brock Venom. It is a different Venom.
Who fucking cares?
I don't fucking care. I'm just saying
okay.
it
for
the fans of the fans.
Didn't mean to target you. I just saw this people being like, "Oh my god, it's Venom, but it's not Eddie Brock," and I'm like, "It's still a fucking generic ass Marvel game. Fuck off."
The Pinocchio meets Bloodborne, Lies of P. There is a demo out now on PlayStation 5, Windows PC, and Xbox Series X. And they also did a release date, which this Polygon article does not say. So watch the trailer if you want to know the release date for Lies of P. Sandland, and I only mention this because it is a new open world game based, imagined by the Dragon Ball Z creator, Akira Toriyama. And Sandland, I believe it was a manga first, and then there's a movie coming out in August, and they're making a game. And it was just like these people driving around in this little truck, and they all look like Akira Toriyama characters. And it genuinely looked kind of cool. I was working while the trailer was going, so I didn't see the whole thing. Alan Wake 2! Alan Wake 2, everybody! We're so excited! They showed off Saga gameplay, where she was like in this scary cabin, and they did a fake jump scare, and then did a real jump scare. And it was so mean. It was so mean. And I purchased Alan Wake Remastered last week in anticipation to replay it before the second one comes out. So I'm very excited for that. Alan Wake is a very good video game. If you haven't played it, just go away. No one likes you.
Wow.
John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. John Carpenter's making a game with Saber Interactive. It's zombie slaying. Saber Interactive, also makers or publishers of Mud Runner and Snow Runner. And in the trailer, I saw trucks hitching other trucks while zombies were all around.
Oh god!
And people were
Zombie
shooting.
Runner.
So I'm not quite sure if that's 100% in there. It just looked like it. But that would be an awesome thing.
Yeah. What if the next Mud Runner is Zombie Runner?
Yeah. So I would be into that if that is actually happening in that trailer. I need to go back and watch it. The Twisted Metal TV trailer was absolutely awful. It's probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm really hyping it up here. Also, when it cut back to Jeff Keighley, I'm pretty sure it was running during an advertisement block, and when it cut back to Jeff Keighley, he didn't say anything. He just moved on.
Oh, wow.
Will Arnett is voicing Sweet Tooth, and the dissonance between the actor who is Sweet Tooth and him was just weird. And I would have rather seen Will Arnett dressed up, and also Anthony Mackie. It was weird. I really didn't like it.
Did they reveal the man who has giant wheels for arms?
No, I wish. That guy's crazy.
Do they have the balls to have that in the series?
I hope so. Peacock.
I can't tell. I can't tell. Like the visuals, the still images from this make it seem like they're going to be crazy, but then you watch it in motion and it looks kind of bland. You know what I mean? So I can't tell if they're really going for it with this or not, and that's upsetting.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. And finally, they ended the show with Jeff Keighley really hyping it up and made me really excited. And then it turned out to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The first gameplay footage they showed off.
That's the back half of the new.
We don't. Yeah. It is the next half.
Yeah,
it's the next bit.
I believe they did. I believe they said it's at least a trilogy, right? Didn't they say that a couple months ago?
I did not.
So I don't know anything about that. People were excited. I need to play the original still, and then I need to play the remake of the original still, and then
remake's cool. It just didn't grab me, but I played the first 10-12 hours of that original. You really should play the original. It's great. It's too long in the tooth. It's too old for me, but I feel like you would love it. It's still a bop. It hits.
I gotta finish Alundra 2 still, and then stupid David getting me into Legends of Legaia, and then Mega Man Legends I kind of want to play. All these stupid people recommending good video games to me. And that was the end of the show. So Jeff Keighley now hides in his hole until opening night live at Gamescom, then he puts his head up, and then it's 6 more weeks of video games. So it's just great that we can have this opportunity. Oh, Wishlist Spotlight! I had a game! Station to Station! I posted this trailer in the Discord the other day, and I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. It's a cute little voxel-y, minimalist, and relaxing game about building railway connections. Grab your conductor's hat and bring the voxel art world to life through magic of trains. You're like building these trains around these little towns. They're like little square... It almost reminded me of Islanders, where you just got that little plot of land to do your little puzzles in, and then we can move on. And then the only way I could think of making Islanders better is putting trains into it.
If they did a train DLC for Islanders, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah,
there's a line in this which says features optional strategic gameplay to earn high scores, which I think is perfect.
That's delivering tanks to the front lines.
It really does sound like Islanders, but where they're like, do you care about scores or do you just want to build? And this looks delightful.
There's a GIF under Thrive that does the same. It's not for the same thing, but it does that Islanders animation where all the points go into the thing. It sort of reminds me of that too. So I'm excited for this. I love steam trains. I love the Alps, and I love voxel art, and I love the Eagle's Nest and pissing in Hitler's living room. Folks, if you want to piss in Hitler's living room, you can email us at hitlerslivingroom@subpixelfilms.com. Let's pay to make that email real. I think that's it. I think I'm gonna hit the. You guys good? I'm gonna hit the outro button.
Do it.
Yeah, let's go home.
See if I hear.
Folks, this has been Local Chat. If you don't know what that is, you're drunk.
What are you doing here?
We'll be back on Saturday for some Diablo 4 fun times, and then Sunday with the Xbox Press showcase, so tune into that. And then Tuesday with just me dancing on screen for 8 hours. I've been your host, Will Crosby. Joining me this week was Jake Terrio and Ian Gibson. You can find all of our stuff subpixelfilms.com. You can find all of our Twitters and our tweets and stuff in the description below. I think that's about it. Any final words you folks want to throw out before we end tonight?
I need more podcast games. Make more podcast games, folks.
Make more podcast games, folks. Make more podcasts, and make sure that every day you live is a day that you'll love yourself more than the day before. See you all next week. Bye.